Welcome to One Brooklyn, presented by Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams. On this edition of One Brooklyn, Brooklyn Borough President Adams visits the Brooklyn Cruise Terminal and tours the Regal Princess as he delivers a check for $2.2 million to NYCEDC for initial improvements to the cruise terminal and the Red Hook Pier. The Brooklyn Cruise Terminal opened up in 2006 at Red Hook Pier 12. At the time, it was a state-of-the-art terminal, receiving awards and accolades. The 200,000 square foot pier in its first year received 40 ships and created 330 permanent jobs to the Brooklyn waterfront, and it's been growing ever since. But ship demands have been growing, and so have the ships looking to pier at Brooklyn's port. That's why Borough President Adams delivered a $2.2 million investment towards the beginning of improvements on the pier.
This location was built for just the Queen Mary II, and other ships couldn't dock here, although they wanted to. So now, with the adjustments that we're making, it's not only going to be built just for the Queen Mary II, it's going to be built for ships like this Princess and larger ships. It's hard to believe that ships can actually get larger, but now we can accommodate other ships, and we can use it as a location for people to disembark or to start their cruise. It's extremely exciting.
Borough President Adams and members of the New York City Economic Development agencies were shown around the terminal, as well as the port where improvements are needed.
We want to show you around the facility and walk you through some interior and exterior improvements that are being planned in conjunction with our cruise line partners and EDC this morning. So with that, I guess we'll quickly start with that we'll be putting Wi-Fi throughout the facility, a number of other passenger amenities and enhancements that will improve the passenger experience and flow, making it much more efficient and passenger friendly than what exists today. So I think from there we should just take a walk outside, look at the improvements that we're doing out front, or any other questions. Part of the additional improvements to increase volume and be able to receive much larger ships that the industry is bringing to New York will be the expansion of the existing service apron. We are still working through our construction management group and architect to look at, and with the cruise lines to look at all their vessels that they're contemplating bringing in the future, so we kind of have a better idea of how many feet we need to expand the apron. We're thinking probably a couple hundred feet, be handling up to 6,000 passengers in the future. Also give us the flexibility to be able to hit other service points of these ships. All these improvements will be able to accommodate much larger vessels than what we're servicing today here.
It's a wise investment because the cruise terminal in New York City is a major revenue stream to the city and the borough.
There are many great economic benefits from having a robust cruise industry here, and that's why we're so happy to receive the investment from the Borough President's office and what that leverages from our private sector partners with Ports America and unlocking their $15 million investment that they're making here at the Brooklyn Cruise Terminal. There's lots of room for more growth. As the boats get bigger, we need to make investments that we can accommodate them at our terminals and invest in that infrastructure to allow the larger boats to be able to berth and unload their cargo and their passengers effectively. But with those larger boats coming in, we're seeing more visitors, people who are coming to the city to explore it, to spend their money, to stay overnight, to see a show, to explore different parts of the city they haven't been to before. So we're seeing this investment is really unlocking a lot more opportunity.
This is a win-win all the way around, particularly for the neighborhoods that's here, because if you build it, they will come. As you build these cruise terminals, when passengers exit the boat, they are allowed now to walk around Red Hook, the new development that's taking place in Red Hook. The waterfront is going to start building out. We're looking to build different parks down in this area. So it's going to become extremely attractive. Now, you want a cruise terminal not to be in the heart of the city. You want it to be a little distance off so that people are able to come and go, because you're dealing with thousands of individuals who are on a cruise terminal. But our goal is to tie this into the visitor center, the tourism center at Brooklyn Borough Hall, to direct people to that location, to have trolley services that will bring them into the heart of downtown Brooklyn, to the Brooklyn Bridge and other locations. So when you leave the boat, you will leave knowing that Brooklyn is a destination as well as other parts of the city. So that's what's exciting. This location is a perfect location. We just want to make sure that we enhance the transportation that allows people to move around in the borough as well.
The $2.2 million investment is just the beginning, as a larger investment will be triggered and leveraged because of the Borough President's participation. The Regal Princess was docked in Red Hook while the Borough President visited the terminal, and he was given a tour by the vessel's captain. Because of the investment, more ships like the Regal Princess will be able to dock in Brooklyn, something that the Borough President and the captain are happy about.
In the centre here, everyone good? Great. Fire any questions as we go along, because traditionally the ships would roll around. Now we're very steady. So we have to watch the speed because this is a big ship, you see. So yesterday we came through a storm on a force 10. Beautiful. She holds it really well.
Yeah,
this is a big ship.
I was on a Greek tour de Greece, and we hit some bad.
Oh yeah, some
and
pretty-
we were.
yeah. Well, we have our stabilizers. They're about 7 meters each side, and they stick out, and they will take out 80% of the rolling motion. Yeah, the front, you see, and we're all within a very small group. See?
Okay.
1.8 meters between you and the operators. There.
Now,
So
why is that?
it's all about the communication. When you're talking, you see we're actually talking across the helmsman, and the helmsman's right in the middle. It's like a rugby square.
Now, why is it so important for that communication?
Because when we operate the bridge, a lot of people always think that there's one person driving. It's not. It's a big team, and everyone on the team carries out a function.
How many team members?
Well, normally on the standard here would be 5, and one administrator 6, and then 2 lookouts. So we're actually running an 8. Well, they're looking out all the time. So you're running a big team. So everyone, if the phone rings, only one person picks up the phone. When the person's conning, whoever's conning is sitting in this chair here, only him. So everything is agreed. There's a check process. So if every time the ship's direction or course is changed, the navigator who's conning has to agree with the co-navigator. This man's monitoring the position of the ship and the traffic. And then we've got one person, we're also monitoring the safety center. When you came in, you saw a safety center. That's also monitoring the safety of the ship. So we've got all the detection. So it's a very nice, calm environment. It's very, but everyone knows their function. And all our ships are the same. I could walk on any ship and we carry out exactly the same functions. We do a lot of work in simulation.
Is that really the steering wheel there?
It is, yes. But I'll be honest, most of the time we don't actually use this. A lot of the time we're in this mode here. This is what we call a rocketilla. You would change the direction of the ship with this. If you want to alter the ship to port, you move it this way. And then up and down is the speed. So most of the time we turn this ship at about a 4-mile radius, so you wouldn't even know she's turning.
Okay.
Because that keeps the speed high. And then if you want to reduce the speed, we just reduce the radius.
Something as small as that.
Yeah. And then this is our turn coming in this morning, our track. We came in, we turned, and then we backed up this way.
Wow, so you did almost a full turn?
Yeah, we did the turn outside there. Because this morning we had a lot of current. There was 2 knots of current pushing this way. So we turned quite late, and then, as I say, we edged it back up here and then back. So it's nice, we're pointing out the right direction tonight.
That concludes this edition of One Brooklyn, presented by Brooklyn Borough President Adams. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on One Brooklyn.
Sing along to that. That's all we got, but you have to sing the rest.
I love that.